Right, welcome to another edition of Onside SA, where Budge, myself and our international correspondent Stevie B will be talking to you about what's been going on. But as is always the norm with me when I get out there, Budge, I want to talk about last one standing.
Yeah.
The new one starts, the big one.
Next Saturday, Paul.
The first?
1st of February, yeah.
1st of February. So the WhatsApps are going out.
Yeah, they've all gone out, Paul. A lot of return, a lot of guys replied, so let's see what happens.
And last winner, did he get married?
Well, Guillaume gets married on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Should I say remarried, you know?
It's the second time.
Yeah, swimming back to Alcatraz.
Swimming back.
Linton Ryan would say.
Yeah. Linton Ryan would say, swimming back to Alcatraz. But anyway, we've got a lot of football. Budge, we've got Stevie B on the line. We're about to talk to him. So obviously, let's talk about the Premiership results. Yeah. Steve, are you there? Stevie B?
Yep, good morning.
Morning, Stevie. How are things? Still cold in the UK?
Yeah, cold. We've had a bit of quite a bit of frost the first few days this week, but it's pleasant enough. It's dry.
Okay, well that's all that counts. You've obviously been watching the football. We've had all the games out
Indeed,
here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tuesday it all started, and Chelsea Arsenal. Just my take on it very quickly. The centre-back who gave that back pass that sold Louise was the guy who got caught. Yeah. Tammy Abrahams turned him inside out to beat them 2-1. He shouldn't be in a championship team, in my opinion. What's his name?
Well, I think the truth is, Arsenal know, that they're weak at the back, and apart from Louise, who they seem to think is their strongest defender, the rest really you could perm anyone from 2 or 3 who are weak. So, I keep reading Arsenal being linked with centre half, but I'm not sure whether they'll bring anybody in this transfer window. But they having said that, to be fair, they showed a bit of spirit and got back in the game.
Yeah, I must say, I like that kid Martinelli. His goal was superb, but he looks a good player.
He does. He's got a lot of confidence, but I think we'll see a lot more of him.
Yeah. Chelsea is just stuttering when they need to get away to secure fourth. They're letting the other guys creeping, but the guys are only creeping back at them, Stevie. The sides behind them, the Spurs, Arsenal's, Man United, Wolves, they're all stuttering a bit.
Yeah, nobody wants to seem to want to get that fourth spot. I mean, Chelsea had a shocking result up at Newcastle at the weekend, completely dominated the game, and then lost to a sucker punch in the last minute, pretty much. So, and they can't win at home. I mean, I was there last week when they beat Burnley, but apart from that, they've only won sort of 1 in 6 at home. So the top 3 looks pretty much nailed on, and then it's all to play for from 4th downwards.
Yeah, Steve, what is the situation with the time, the kickoffs? Because it's a joke. Last night we had it's like 45 minutes in between the first 2 in the main game.
They're doing that. They're doing that for TV. So Amazon did it first, and now BT Sport are doing it. Yeah. Where effectively what they're doing is they're allowing people, as I did, they're allowing people to watch 3 halves. So I started off watching the 7:30 Leicester game, and at 8:15 I turned it over to see the United game, and then you get in that way you can get to see 3 whole halves of football on the same evening. So obviously it's late for you guys, sort of 10:15 start, but it's sort of, I guess they've woken up to the fact that they can stagger the games by just 15 minutes sort of either way and get 3 halves in.
I think it's a good idea. I'd like them to start 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'd like that, and you get to watch them all. But anyway, let's talk about Villa coming back against Watford.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, we had the weekend games and midweek games. So, a number of teams, including Villa, have sort of given themselves a real boost because they were looking as if they could start to sort of fall away. They came back with a fighting draw at Brighton, and against they were obviously 1 down to Watford, and I guess a lot of people thought, oh, here we go again, and they came back very strongly at the end. Obviously, got a very late goal, and gives them a fighting chance.
Steve, yeah, I watched the game, Stephen. I had a bet on bookings and a red card. And the guy that scored the winning goal should have got sent off. So I was cursing and swearing. We had a yellow, and he definitely, the handball, it should have been yellow and off. And if I was Watford, I'd be throwing my toys at the cot. I haven't heard what Nigel Pearson said, but he's entitled to be throwing his toys out the cot. Yeah,
well, again, I mean, at one point, obviously, at 1-0, they were sort of pulling themselves away, and all of a sudden they find themselves second bottom again. Yeah. So it's very, very tight at the bottom.
Sorry, Steve, I was listening to the commentator yesterday, and he said a year ago, the most kicked or hacked player in the league was Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
Who's it this year?
Well, it can only be Grealish.
It is. Jack Grealish is the most hacked
Grealish.
player. And they
Although,
say he
to be
gets
fair,
up, both him and Hazard get straight up and carry on.
Good player, I like him.
Yeah.
Grealish has got an edge to him as well. He can dish it out.
Yeah.
You know, he picks up a few bookings and could get a few more. But you know, he's to be fair. I mean, if Villa are going to stay up, I mean, he's going to be one of the main reasons why that happens. And he's already gone on record a few days ago to say whatever happens, he's not leaving Villa in the window, because one or two bigger clubs were linked. But there's no way he wants to go, or Villa are going to let him go.
Yeah, I don't blame him. After your career, you want legendary status, which you'll have.
Stay
You can't leave now. I agree. Now, one team that got out of jail, Steve, was Bournemouth. They'd lost, I think it was 9 out of 11 prior to that.
Yeah.
Good result for them.
Big win. Huge win for them. And you know, played well. At the end of the day, it's all of a sudden Brighton, who a few weeks ago were starting to look as if putting a bit of a run together, and now been sucked right back into it. It is really tight at the bottom. You know, you just couldn't predict. You know, a week or two ago, you could have said, looks like Villa are going to go, Bournemouth are going to go. They both get good results during the week. So apart from Norwich, who again putting up a fight, but essentially 8 points adrift with the worst goal difference. I think everybody else at the bottom there has got a fighting chance.
Yeah. Steve, if I had to ask you, which two you think would go down?
Well, I think it's Norwich, and at the moment, you just feel that Brighton just had a little. They got sucked into it last year and just stayed up. You know, they play nice football, but you know they got a bit of a soft underbelly. I still thought Villa. I still fancy Villa to go down. I think Watford have got a bit more, or Bournemouth. I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be Villa, Bournemouth, or Brighton. You know, a few weeks ago, everyone was saying Burnley were getting sucked back into it, and here they are with two huge results, find themselves sort of halfway up the table again on 30 points. So, you know, I think 40 points has always been the barometer that if you get that, you're totally safe. Well, you're not quite sure this year, because if teams start putting runs together, teams like Southampton have got 31, they only need 3 more wins, and you just think, is that going to be enough? So it is. It's in a way, it's probably more exciting at the bottom than it is at the top, because it's all over and done with at the top.
Now, Newcastle got out of jail. I don't know how. Talk about Alcatraz. 2 goals in the last injury time.
Their first goal was in the 93rd minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, look, they were, again, obviously with their injuries, getting sucked right back into it. They totally against the run of play, they beat Chelsea and picked up those 3 points. And then, as you say, got completely out of jail, 2-0 down and not in the game, and got back with those 2 injury time goals. And that will give them confidence, because they find themselves now sort of again back on sort of 30 points and sort of, 7 points clear of the teams at the bottom. So, you know, they've given themselves a fighting chance, and it does look as if they're going to try and bring 1 or 2 players in.
Yeah. The one team
their squad.
Yeah. Now, the one team I think is in serious trouble is West Ham. I watched the first half last night against Leicester.
Yeah, I did.
They were
Very
woeful, you know, and I think they're in trouble.
Could they get sucked in?
They're in the mix.
Well, they're in. They are sucked in. They've got. I mean, as it happens, they've got a game in hand, but I'm not sure that'll help them. It's
Liverpool at
against
home.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
They generally, it's interesting. I mean, they've got a few players out injured, and if they get them back, you think they'd be strong enough. But I think you're right. I mean, no team is too big to go down. They will be under a lot of pressure if they go down, because all their model is based on getting huge gates there. They need that revenue. They pay big wages. You know, I think so. Yeah, sorry. West Ham definitely are in the mix at the bottom.
I watched the Tottenham game last night. Tottenham-Norwich. Again, Tottenham weren't good. They were at home. They had not that many chances. Norwich looked as good as them.
Yeah.
Norwich got, Sessignon, your ex-Fulham man, is struggling in that league.
Well, you know, they play him. Look, it is a big step up. He's not. First of all, he doesn't like to play anywhere near the back. That is not good. You know, he's got to be further forward, and Tottenham have got players in that position. So, you know, he's probably still one for the future, but he's still only 19. He's still a young man.
Yeah, I think it was a bad move for him. He should have stayed another year at Fulham.
Yeah.
He had got the maturity. He's jumped ship, and I think.
Yeah, look, you know what happens, Budge? They change agents. You know, the lure of bigger wages and playing in a big club, you can understand why they go. And actually, he's got himself in the team. Although, obviously, if he doesn't play well in the next few games, he'll be out of it. It seems like Mourinho, even though he denies it, has fallen out with Danny Rose. So, you know, and I think Danny Rose is the best left-back at the club.
Yeah, no doubt. You understand. But just the team performance. What's his name came on? He's gone.
Ericsson.
Ericsson.
He
He's
was moaning like
he
hell, I
was
saw
caught
it.
on the ball. He was
He's
slow.
desperate to go. I don't understand the mentality. I mean, they're only a few million apart by the sounds of it. He wants to go. Tottenham will get nothing in the summer. His heart's not in it, so they're not starting him.
Let him go. Do any deal, you know.
All right, Steve, before we go into the FA Cup previews, Man United, Burnley.
Well, it was a shocking performance, really. When you think that, obviously, look, without Rashford, I mean, he's been their standout sort of player this season. To me, the next best player, if you're looking for a goal, is young Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
And they don't start him, and they look toothless again. And Burnley do what Burnley do very well. They're a big, solid team. They set their stall out. They're going to put 2 banks of 4. In fact, it was 2 banks of 5 at some point, and caught United on the break and scored 2 cracking goals. Yeah. And once it went to 2-0, you just felt that there was no way back for United. And ultimately, if United, by all accounts, are playing around, we're trying to knock a few million off the Bruno Fernandes deal. They need players in. They're desperate for new players. They need an injection of players with a bit more passion and fight. And I think if they don't get anybody at all, then they're not going to challenge for 4 at all this season.
Steve, we'll be closer to 10th than we will be to the top 4. That's my prediction. Yeah. Terrible.
Well, if they don't bring anybody in, then I think you're probably right. It's very disappointing.
I'm very disappointed. I watched them and I think, nothing's happening. We talk about West Ham having players out. Spurs have got players out, but so have United. No Pogba, no Rashford. These are key players.
Just haven't got a goal scorer.
Absolutely.
McTominay. These are good players, but it does show. Correct. It's accurate. But
it shows that they haven't got the strength and depth of the squad. Yeah. And when Bud said earlier that they want to, players there amongst the highest paid footballers in the world, and you just think, really? I mean, how many world-class players can you see there? Yet they're getting paid world-class money. Yeah. You just wonder if the hunger is there with some of them.
Stevie, watching TV last night, Paul Scholes was very critical of the goalkeeper for that second goal. A tough call. What do you think? Near post.
It's a hell of a look. They always say you should never be beaten at your near post, but Jay Rodriguez on his day is a good player, and he really let fly with that, and it was a very difficult shot to save. Yeah. As was the first. I just think they got caught out to smash and grabs, and at the end of the other end, United just didn't have that cutting edge. Yeah.
Steve, on to the FA Cup. It kicks off on Friday. One of our ex-legends, Wayne Rooney. You see Derby beating Northampton?
Yes, I mean, Northampton are the lowest ranked team. If Derby put out a strong side, and I sort of think they will, they did at Palace, then I think they'll be too strong for Northampton. And again, they're on a run of 4 wins and a draw in their last 5 games, Derby, so I can see them winning that.
Okay, now Brentford, I know they played Notts Forest at home on Tuesday in a big game. Do you think he's going to play his best team against Leicester in the televised kick-off Saturday?
Well, that's interesting because this is part of the problem with predicting FA Cup games. Is if Brentford play their strongest team, then I think they give Leicester a good game. Yeah. I think Brendan Rodgers will put out a strong side, although again he has a Carabao Cup second leg next week, so he might rest one. So obviously they've lost Jamie Vardy potentially for a little while. So it depends. If Brentford play their strongest team, Leicester rest 1 or 2, you could have a bit of an upset. If Leicester play their strongest available team, no, they'll probably be too strong.
Yeah, I think he's going to do what he did against West Ham and make 8 or 9 changes. That's what I think. Yeah. Now, Sheffield United, the team I tipped to get to the semi-final, they go to a Millwall side, always difficult at the Den. Is that another upset in the making?
I think, potentially Millwall have got a very good cup pedigree. They put out, in the last few seasons,
with Bournemouth, West Ham, they've put out a lot of them,
beat Everton. Last year, I think Millwall put out their strongest available side. I think they're going to be a match for Sheffield United. That's the sort of game that might go through a replay, but I'm not sure if Sheffield United will go there and win.
Okay, now Southampton-Tottenham, that's one of the main games on the weekend.
Tough game.
Yeah. What I saw from Tottenham, what disappointed me, Paul, is the last 10, 15 minutes, Spurs were playing for time, going to the corner, and I'm thinking, now this can't be the same team that got to the Champions League final last season.
Son had a runaway.
Yeah.
And he got caught up and he passed it back. Oh, no, they're not playing
There's definitely trouble in the camp. Yeah. Man United aren't good enough, but Spurs, you can see there's dissension.
There is something. Again, if you've got players who don't want to be there, it does upset the other half a little bit. Yeah, sure. Now, this, again, Southampton finding themselves, 31 points. They could say, look, we're pretty safe. We only need three or four wins in the league. Let's have a good cup run. And if they play their strongest available side, I think they could give Tottenham a real run for their money.
It'll be a good game.
I think it will be a good game. If they both play strong sides.
Yeah. Now West Ham host West Brom. West Brom dummied us on Monday. Still seething that they never scored. Cost us a few grand in a bet. Yeah. West Ham are struggling. I believe Moyes is going to change his team. What will Slaven Bilic do?
Well, I think he'll change his team as well because they're struggling in the league. Obviously, 1 win in 7 or 8 now it is. Yeah. Still top, but only just. I think he'll rest players. He's got Pereira out suspended. He's got Diangana, who actually couldn't play anyway, who's injured. West Ham player on loan. I think he'll rest, and if he rests, if he rests players.
Steve, are you still there? Steve, we seem to have lost Steve. We're just checking if we can get Steve. Seeing if we can get Steve back on the line. We'll try to get him back on the line in the meantime. Budge, let's just talk about. We'll go back to Steve on the FA Cup previews, but let's just talk about Thursday's fixtures. Wolves, Liverpool.
Yeah, big game for Wolves, Paul. I know Liverpool. I think the league's over. It's
me too.
I think he wants to try and get the league one, Klopp, and then mix and match with his players, give them all medals. I think that's what he'll do. Yeah, Liverpool on the form they're in, Paul, they should win. But Wolves, give them a hard game.
Well,
they played well against a good
team. Yeah, they came back against Southampton.
But you've got to fancy
them. And then Tranmere, Watford.
Well, what happened, Paul, it's a League Cup replay. It got postponed the other day.
FA Cup replay.
Waterlogged, yeah. Now, the winners of that game are at home to Man United on Sunday.
Ooh,
but Watford,
and they played tonight.
Yeah.
So Watford played when? Tuesday?
Watford, yeah. So it's Tuesday, Thursday and...
Sunday. Possibly.
So Watford are going to rest all their main players. Now they're second bottom. He's got to do that. So don't be surprised if there's an upset.
Okay, the winners are home to Man United.
Yeah, that's on Sunday. So,
jeez, okay. Budge, we'll come back to Stevie because we still want to talk about how Chelsea and his beloved Fulham who are going out.
Steve, are you back on board?
You know what it is. The minute I start talking about Tottenham, I obviously jinx it.
I'll put you off, Steve.
All right, now let's go to a better team. Let's go to Fulham. Any chance of an upset against Man City?
Absolutely not. Although, having said that, the bookies obviously fancy us more than they fancy Palace because we're only 18-1.
Oh, okay. What do you think he's going to do after last night's 0-0 draw? Play all the youngsters and experience?
Unfortunately, we're without Anthony Lockhart went off with a hamstring. He's out for another week. Kamara's out for maybe another week. And Mitrovic is out for another couple of weeks. So we're quite toothless up front. Yeah. To be honest, as much as it would be lovely to go there and put up a good show and get a result, even a scrappy draw, I can't see it. I think he'll rest 1 or 2 key players. We can't afford any more injuries. We've got...
Yeah.
I agree. The line's killing us. When do Shrewsbury play Liverpool?
It's on Sunday. I think Jurgen Klopp's going to do what he did the last time. He's going to play several of the youngsters.
He's had 2 bangs.
With
he played the youngsters against Aston Villa, got thumped.
Yeah.
He played them against Everton.
The keeper kept the minute,
Yeah. So he's got to maybe get a balance.
Yeah, I think he will. There's a lot of guys that haven't been playing. Yeah. So he'll play them, maybe Shaqiri, Lallana, Oxlade, Chamberlain, I think. But tough game, but you'd expect them to get through.
Liverpool will get through, Man City will get through. Chelsea, how?
Hummed and hard about it, but after throwing the points away, Frank Lampard's going to play his best team. He has to.
Chelsea.
They were really disappointing, Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
10 men
controlling
cruising.
The game.
You scored 2-1 with like 5 minutes to go, and he'll be throwing his toys at Frank Lampard, and I expect a response from Chelsea.
Bournemouth at home to Arsenal?
Well, I like Arsenal. I was impressed with Arsenal, and he's won the cup twice, Arteta, as a player. So he'll go for it.
They did well to come back.
Yeah. They look a lot better, Arsenal, under his leadership.
Okay, let's get on to because of time constraints. Unfortunately, we've lost the legend Stevie B, but we're going to crack on with the FA Cup 4th round.
I agree. Since Wayne Rooney's got there, and I watched them beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Yeah, it's a Friday night game, big game, but Northampton are in League 2. They're going well at home, but you've got to expect Derby play a full-strength team and get a result. Now, QPR beat Leeds last week, 1-0, upset. Yeah, they're a funny team, that QPR. Now, Sheffield Wednesday looked good things, and they got hammered by Blackburn at home. I think both teams will have a full go at this, Paul. I think there'll be goals.
So I have to shade a opinion from you, what would you go for?
I would go QPR.
Would you? That's interesting, Budge. Okay, I think Leicester City will beat Brentford. Brentford at home aren't slouches.
No, they've won the last 7 league games, Paul, and I watched them at home against QPR. They're dangerous. The trick is, as Steve said, if they have a go, I think they can beat Leicester.
Okay.
He's going to rotate his players. He has to. Jamie Vardy pulled up. He'll rest Maddison. Remember they played West Ham away a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
He made 9 changes. He's going to do the same. They've got a League Cup semi-final in midweek. They drew 1-1. I think that could be the upset. Paul. Let Brentford play their best team. I like Brentford.
Burnley on a high now.
Well, now they've got
Norwich aren't that bad.
No, they're not that bad. Burnley beat Leicester, deserved the game Sunday, and they beat Man United. If he plays his full team, you'd expect him to win, but I think he's going to rotate.
I'm tipping Norwich as a rough bet for me.
It could be win and draw Burnley, Paul.
Okay, win and draw Burnley, I've gone Norwich. That's my only comment.
Fair enough.
Coventry, Birmingham.
Well, ironically, Coventry are the home team, but they share the same ground as St Andrews as Birmingham. Now, Birmingham are struggling, so it's their home game. I like Birmingham with the 2 teams. Coventry are going well, but if Birmingham put out a strong team, I think they'll win.
All right, let's go. We spoke Millwall, Sheffield United. Do you concur?
As you say, if I was Sheffield United, I'd go there and have a full go. Yeah. They haven't got a game in midweek. They played well against Man City. Why not go and have a go in the Cup?
What makes you think they're not going to have a go?
Well, you'll rotate. Depends on which tabloid you read. But he's going to say he's going to play the squad players. There's 4 or 5 of them that haven't really played. But,
it's a good chance to throw them out.
Yeah, definitely.
But Millwall not
dangerous Cup team. Yeah.
Newcastle United.
Should be,
Oxford,
Paul. Steve Bruce has been looking at this. Great result. They've beat Chelsea, drew at Everton. Why not have a go in the Cup? Give something for the fans.
That's
Oxford are struggling in League One. It should be Newcastle all day.
All day, yeah. Portsmouth against Barnsley.
I like Portsmouth, Paul. The last 13 home games, they've won 10 and drawn 3. They're just off the promotion place in League One. Barnsley got murdered at home by Preston in midweek. They're struggling. He'll play his best team, I think, but I like Portsmouth, Paul. I like the 13-10 there.
Okay, we've done Southampton, Tottenham. Let's go on to this. So West Ham, West Brom,
they're both struggling, Paul. I just think that could be a draw.
Yeah.
Slaven Bilic, I think he'll play a decent team for the simple reason.
He's an old boss from West Ham.
Yeah, he's the old West Ham boss. You're going to want to put on the show. They've only won 1 in the last 8. So he can't get another smack and then go in midweek and get... Now, I think he's going to have to play a lot of his better players just to get the confidence back. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a draw there, Paul.
Reading, Cardiff?
Yeah, another team. Reading have gone well under Mark Bone. They've only lost 1 of the last 9. They drew 1-1 at Forest last night. Cardiff away from home are struggling. I like Reading.
Okay, and then Hull City. I like Chelsea.
It should be Chelsea, Paul, all day. Hull City,
they've got quality.
It's a nice pitch, Hull City. I just think Chelsea, I know Tammy Abrams missing, but Batshuayi up front, I think they'll have too much.
He's a good player.
Plays for Belgium.
Man City will beat Fulham.
It should be all day, Paul.
Liverpool will beat Shrewsbury
Town. They should do, and I like Arsenal to beat Bournemouth. I know it was a great result for Bournemouth, but Eddie Howe's not going to rest his main players. A lot of guys have been battling with injury. He's going to play the youngsters. If you get beat, rather get beat in the FA Cup than get relegated.
Stoke City, Swansea City.
I like Stoke, Paul.
You've always got a soft spot for them, I've noticed.
They've
good
got
squad.
Butland in goal, good squad, Paul. Swansea are struggling. At home, they're okay. Away from home, I think they've won 1 and 8. I think Stoke are good things.
PSL fixtures. I watched a bit of Black Leopards and Chiefs. Black Leopards not a
bad
side.
Black Leopards played well at home, Paul. They were unlucky.
She's a good team.
Dangerous team.
Dangerous team. Okay, let's talk about Cape Town City.
Well, Cape Town City beat Wits 2-0 at home last week. Couldn't believe it was. That's a big win for them because they only had 1 of the previous 13. Friday night game, Leopards don't travel, Paul.
Don't they?
Terrible away from home. They're a home, difficult team to beat, but I like Cape Town City. But in the exotics, you've got to throw in the draw as well.
Supersport, Chipper?
Yeah, it should be Supersport, Paul. I watched them against Sundowns. They played really well. Good goal they scored to win Sundowns.
Nice price, 7 to 10.
7 to 10,
you
Paul.
Take that into a couple of
Chipper
doubles.
have come well. They've only lost 1 of 7, but Supersport at home don't get beat too often.
No.
So Supersport for me.
Canaras do something against Chiefs?
Well, they're playing at Moses Mabhida. If they played at Sugar Ray Kulu Stadium in Claremont, they've won the last 2 meetings in Claremont. But playing at Moses Mabhida...
Why would Golden Arrows a seed to that? Wouldn't they say...
Well, crowd,
Take gate.
Yeah. But Steve Competa, the ex-manager, he'll keep it tight. But I watched Chiefs the other day, Paul. The game prior to Black Leopards, they beat somebody 3-0. They really looked impressive. Getting the balls in the box should be Chiefs, Paul.
Stellenbosch against Polokwane.
Steve's done a good job. They've won the last couple. Polokwane, I think it's Clinton Larson that's there now. They've lost 10 or 12. It should be Stellenbosch, Paul, but they've lost 3 of the last 4 at home, so I would throw in the draw, but it should be Stellenbosch.
Pirates, Amazulu?
Pirates, best team in the league at the moment. They beat Sundowns fair and square. Amazulu struggling. They're going to have to go for it because they're bottom of the league. I think it'll play into Pirates' hand. Should be all day, the Buccaneers.
Barocca, Maritzburg.
I like Maritzburg, Paul. The more I watch him, you realise how good Eric Tinkler, the job he's done. Barocca have only won one at home. That was a local derby against Polokwane. I think Maritzburg are good things, even though they're playing in Petersburg.
Okay. Let's go look at your sixes.
Yeah, I've gone the field looking for the upset in the Brentford-Leicester game. Millwall, Sheffield United. I've gone the field there as well. I think Portsmouth will beat Barnsley. I think Newcastle will be too good for Oxford. I've gone Birmingham, win and draw at home against Coventry, and I've gone Reading, win and draw at home against
So both Coventry
Cardiff.
and Birmingham City is the same ground?
Well, Coventry are hiring their ground because their home ground is liquidated. I don't know what the story was.
Okay, the local
The second one, I've gone one banker with 5 win and draws. I've gone Chiefs, win and draw against Golden Arrows. I've gone Stellenbosch, win and draw at home against Polokwane. I've gone for Tottenham, win and draw at Southampton. I've gone Burnley, win and draw at home against Norwich. I think West Ham can get something West Brom can get something at West Ham, and ended up with banking Orlando Pirates to beat Amazulu, 192.
All right, Budge.
Yeah, on to the 10 now. I've gone Chiefs, win and draw against Golden Arrows. I've gone Stellenbosch, win and draw at home against Polokwane. I've gone the field in the Southampton-Tottenham fixture.
But just stopping you there, what time's that game? Do you know?
5 o'clock.
Okay.
Night time, yeah.
Saturday,
yeah. I've gone Burnley, win and draw at home against Norwich. I've gone the field in the West Ham-West Brom fixture. Our second page, I've gone Barcelona, who play a Valencia team. Yeah, they haven't lost 10 at home. They always give Barca a game, so I've thrown the draw in and ended up with 4 bankers. Orlando Pirates to beat Amazulu, Chelsea to win at Hull City. I've gone Bayern Munich to beat Schalke, and I think Sevilla will be too good for Granada, 288.
All right, the impossible.
Yeah, the tough one, Paul. We had 12 the other day, but what can we do? I've gone Tottenham, win and draw at Southampton. I've banked Chelsea to beat Hull, Newcastle to beat Oxford United. I've gone Birmingham City, win and draw against Coventry City. I've sided with West Brom to avoid defeat at West Ham. I've gone Burnley, win and draw at home against Norwich. Likewise, Reading, win and draw at home against Cardiff. Second page, I've gone the field in the Millwall-Sheffield United match. I've banked Portsmouth to beat Barnsley. I've banked Stoke to beat Swansea City. Now, Blackpool Tranmere is a trick game because if Tranmere beat who is it they're playing tonight? Watford tonight. That game's abandoned. But if Tranmere get beat, well, that fixture's going to go ahead.
Okay.
So that's why I've just put the asterisk. So just be wary. And they're going to play their best team. So if they do get beat, I think Blackpool will beat them anyway. I've gone Bristol Rovers win and draw against Fleetwood Town, and ended up with Paul Lambert's Ipswich Town to beat Lincoln City, 327.
All right, Budge, let's go and have a look at the big stuff.
Yeah, limited with our selections, Paul, because it is the FA Cup. I've gone Derby County to beat Northampton. I've gone Birmingham City to beat Coventry City. I've gone Portsmouth to beat Barnsley, and I fancy Arsenal to win at Bournemouth, 3,400 to 200. FA Cup, I've gone win, draw and outright. I've gone Brentford to win or draw at home against Leicester City. I've gone with West Brom to avoid defeat against West Ham. And I think Man City will win the cup, Paul. It's only 1 or 2 teams. I think they'll get knocked out.
So Spurs out?
Yeah, Spurs, they could be out this week. But, just over 10 to 1. So, because our bets were limited.
Both teams to score?
Both teams to score, yeah. I've gone QPR Sheffield Wednesday, Brentford Leicester, Burnley Norwich, West Ham, West Brom, and ended up on Monday, Bournemouth, Arsenal, 14-1, 2,800 to 200.
The PSL.
On to the PSL, I've got Orlando Pirates to beat Amazulu and over 2.5 total goals in that match. I've got Maritzburg to win at Barocca, and I think there'll be plenty of goals in the Golden Arrows Kaiser Chiefs clash. 9-1, 1,800 to 200.
Spanish omelette?
Spanish omelette, I've gone Atletico Madrid to beat Leganes and over 2.5 total goals. And I've ended up going with over 2.5 goals in 3 games. Real Sociedad Mallorca, Real Valladolid versus Real Madrid, and Sevilla versus Granada, 2,800 to 200. And our Collis King 6 on Exa. I've gone Chelsea to beat Hull. I've gone Newcastle to beat Oxford. I've gone Arsenal to beat Bournemouth. I think Stoke will beat Swansea. I've gone Atletico Madrid to beat Leganes and Real Madrid to beat Real Valladolid, 3,000 to 200.
Right, Stevie, we unfortunately haven't got back, but I want to know your best bet and
Yeah,
value
my
bet.
best bet is Stoke, Paul. I'm just so sceptical about the FA Cup, what sides they put in, Paul.
What price Stoke?
They're even money, so that's my bet. Swansea are struggling. I like what I've seen and heard about Stoke lately, and they're desperate.
And your value
My
bet?
best bet is I went 3-1 Brentford, Paul. If they play their best team, Leicester will no doubt not play their best team. You know, he'll be sceptical. He may play Johnny Evans like he did last time, and a lot of youngsters. And if Brentford play their best team, Paul, 3-1. I think it was 11-10 win and draw.
Okay.
But you've got to wait for the team. But it's 3-1, Paul, and we've got to,
A lot depends on waiting till the last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
You know the Vardys and the Kanes and people like that are out, but last minute you suddenly got a guy you've never heard of debuting. So it makes it difficult. Don't forget my bet, Norwich.
Norwich. Okay.
Norwich. Okay, Budge. Anything else we're going to talk about?
No, it's just last one standing, Paul. I sent out all of the WhatsApps to all the guys. We had over 300 previous members, so they've all been WhatsApp. So it's next Saturday it starts.
Fantastic. So we're ready to go.
Yep, ready to rock and roll, Paul. For
Excellent,
our last one of the year.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much to Stevie B. Till we see you next time, stay on side.